Hi, I'm Hector Vasquez. I'm the Pediatric Emergency Medicine Fellowship Director. When I came here, I realized that the diversity of patients, the camaraderie that the patients and the people who work here have with taking care of the community was very strong. So I was really happy to see that.
Maimonides is a very unique place. It's nestled in this area of Brooklyn where we service a significant number of populations, speak many different languages. The training opportunity that happens here derives directly from those patients. We're able to see this amazing breadth of pathology, this amazing sea of humanity that comes through Maimonides on a daily basis. Never has it failed me to surprise me the amount of amazing patients and disease processes that we see through these doors.
Maimonides has a very impressively diverse pathology in general, but especially as it relates to the pediatric emergency department. At Maimonides, the kids requiring resuscitation and intensive levels of care is an everyday occurrence.
We're the only children's hospital in Brooklyn. We have some of the only subspecialties that you will get around here. Our fellowship program is comprised of 6 fellows, so you will get, for the most part, individualized attention. Our shifts are not double covered by fellows, so whenever there's a fellow on, you will be with a pediatric emergency medicine physician.
Great place to learn, great place to practice.
One of the great things about working at Maimonides is that we have access to all the clinical subspecialties in pediatrics, as well as surgery, as well as trauma, and pretty much anything you could think of. Urology, cardiology, endocrinology, trauma service is very robust. We have a very good pediatric surgery program here. So there are very few things that we would have to push out of here to go to a different hospital. For the most part, we could deal with everything internally.
I think there's several special features of Maimonides. One is it's very rare that we ever have to transfer someone out. And what I mean by that is whenever we have a sick patient, we're able to take care of them from the ED all the way to admitting them to either the ICU or the PEDS floor because we have all the specialties. And I think that's important because that aspect helps us for our knowledge base because we can follow up on the patient. We can see what happened to the patient.
The other thing that I think is really interesting is maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, we became a pediatric trauma center. I think that prior to us being a trauma center, we did still see trauma because patients just walk in all the time. But now with a formalized trauma center, our program is pretty hard to beat.
Maimonides is one of very few level 1 trauma centers serving 2.5 million people in Brooklyn. That means that our fellows will see and do see a wide range of traumatic injuries, from violence to motor vehicle accident.
Which is the training opportunity that happens here derives directly from those patients. We're able to see this amazing breadth of pathology, this amazing sea of humanity that comes through Maimonides on a daily basis. Never has it failed me to surprise me the amount of amazing patients and disease processes that we see through these doors.
Maimonides has a very impressively diverse pathology in general, but especially as it relates to the pediatric emergency department. At Maimonides, the kids requiring resuscitation and intensive levels of care is an everyday occurrence.
We're the only children's hospital in Brooklyn. We have some of the only subspecialties that you will get around here. Our fellowship program is comprised of 6 fellows, so you will get, for the most part, individualized attention. Our shifts are not double covered by fellows, so whenever there's a fellow on, you will be with a pediatric emergency medicine physician.
Great place to learn, great place to practice.
One of the great things about working at Maimonides is that we have access to all the clinical subspecialties in pediatrics, as well as surgery, as well as trauma, and pretty much anything you could think of. Urology, cardiology, endocrinology, trauma service is very robust. We have a very good pediatric surgery program here. So there are very few things that we would have to push out of here to go to a different hospital. For the most part, we could deal with everything internally.
I think there's several special features of Maimonides. One is it's very rare that we ever have to transfer someone out. And what I mean by that is whenever we have a sick patient, we're able to take care of them from the ED all the way to admitting them to either the ICU or the PEDS floor because we have all the specialties. And I think that's important because that aspect helps us for our knowledge base because we can follow up on the patient. We can see what happened to the patient.
The other thing that I think is really interesting is maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, we became a pediatric trauma center. I think that prior to us being a trauma center, we did still see trauma because patients just walk in all the time. But now with a formalized trauma center, our program is pretty hard to beat.
Maimonides is one of very few level 1 trauma centers serving 2.5 million people in Brooklyn. That means that our fellows will see and do see a wide range of traumatic injuries, from violence to motor vehicle accidents, accidental trauma, bicycle accidents, and things like that.
We have the acuity in terms of the medical acuity, and we have the acuity in terms of the trauma acuity. During your first year fellowship, you are primarily seeing patients on your own so that you can make sure you learn the approach to the altered mental status patient, the approach to respiratory distress. You're sort of like a super resident so that you can know how to do everything in the emergency department. And later on in your first year, you start precepting. That's when you start focusing on teaching PEM to emergency medicine residents, to pediatric residents. We have nurse practitioner students, we have medical students. And then third year, the bigger thing is to focus on the flow of the entire emergency department.
I could say on a general day, the things that we're going to go over are always going to be ultrasound. Our program is really big on ultrasound. From the second you walk in, you're going to be learning how to just turn on, use the ultrasound. It's called knobology, all the different buttons, as well as when it's important and when it's a valuable diagnostic tool. So that's a big one that we focus some time on. But then we also do things like fluid management and basically a physical exam and diagnostic values. So I think those are also really important.
Things that I liked about this program is that it really teaches you how to move an emergency room. So not just how to treat a patient, but how to dispo patients, how to not be looking at the board and see that there's 35 patients and why are some of these patients not left yet, how to be able to manage people, how to get your nursing staff to agree to a plan that you have, to put that line in, to start medication. Those are all things that this program is really strong about. You get thrown into it. It's not an easy by any means, but when you leave here, you can have the ability to manage any type of ER.
So every time a resident is on shift, we make sure that you have a learning opportunity from each case. Even if they're here for a simple URI, we kind of take that to the next steps. What if this? What if that?
Here they do a wonderful job of teaching it, and I feel like that's a unique and really beneficial part of this program.
When you're done at MIMO, you can hang anywhere else.
The most important thing, I think, when you pick a fellowship is, this is just my opinion, is your likelihood of being happy at that institution, because your life is still going to happen when you're a fellow.
I chose Maimonides honestly because of the people. When I first came here to interview, I realized that part of feeling like I'm a home setting is the people I'm around. There's tons of hospitals across the country, but what really makes a medical center is the people you work with day to day. And Maimonides has one of the most homely, competent, warm-hearted, honest, genuine folks that feel like they're family that I've ever come across. And one of the best decisions I made was actually coming to Maimonides Medical Center.
Every place I went, there are fabulous places, some awesome, interesting places that you'd be honored to train at. But each time I came back to Maimonides, the people here, the sense of community, family, the pathology, everything putting that together, it just became a clear choice that this was the place that I had to be.
You need to be able to get through the worst of life together, and that's, I think, my favorite thing about this program.
There's a number that I ask for the day of the dinner every year. And this year, I'm very proud to say that number is 902. What does that mean? That's 902 children that are alive because that room exists in Maimonides Pediatric Trauma Center. That's results. I mean, when you have 902 children that are alive today because that room exists. That's why we do this.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Frank Naccarato. I am a member of the Board of Trustees at Maimonides Medical Center, and I want to thank you for being part of our 5th annual Community for Kids event. We thank you for your support as we celebrate our 5th anniversary. Obviously, this year is a little bit different than the past. We have to conform with the current requirements, and so we have in this event virtually. But your help and your support is needed. We ask you to be very supportive. It's a great cause. And right now, I'd like to introduce my co-MC. Please say hello to a very talented individual, my friend, Joe Piscopo.
Hey everybody, Joe Piscopo here. I'm in New Jersey, and we want to welcome everyone to the 2020 Community for Kids benefit. So happy that I could be here. I'm thrilled to be your guest MC tonight to join my good friend, Frank Naccarato. Frank, how you doing? It's from Joey to Frankie. A couple of guys here just trying to help the kids out at Maimonides Medical Center for the sake of one cause that unites us all, and that is the children. I am a father of 5 children. I'm a dedicated dad. And if I have to leave in the middle of this and go take care of my kids, you'll understand, I'm sure. I'm always cooking, I'm cleaning, look at me. But I love it, you know, it's part of my Italian-American heritage. I was astounded to learn that in a borough of over 500,000 children, Maimonides is home to Brooklyn's sole pediatric center. Is that right? And only comprehensive children's hospital with their nationally recognized clinical expertise and work that they do. That is truly outstanding. Tonight, we're going to learn more about the incredible life-saving services and celebrating their ongoing commitment to the children of the great borough of Brooklyn, New York.
So pediatric trauma obviously gets everybody's blood pressure up. It's a very intense situation because usually it's a healthy child who had an unexpected accident, and this is nothing somebody could predict. There was no preamble. They just show up and they can be very, very sick. The Pediatric Trauma Center at Maimonides is a complex organization of people, starting with injury prevention coordination and our Child Protective Services team, and then through contact with EMS, with our trauma program manager, to the doctors and nurses who take care of the children when they come in the door. Then they move on to the ICUs. Then rehab services comes in with pediatric specific rehab services, and our social workers help them get to the best rehab centers in the area. That service of having everything set up to take the best care of a child, because they are not little adults, they are children, and they need different specialties and different nursing and different resources like child life and pediatric rehab that understand children. That is invaluable to a community.
Please bring the message out to your respective communities, to your respective organizations. It is imperative. So yes, raising money for this event is very important, and we ask you to be very generous, but also bring out the message out there in our community.
Community for Kids, led by our Maimonides trustee, Frank Naccarato, and his benefits co-chair, Brian Long, sprang into action in 2016, just weeks after Maimonides opened the borough's first pediatric trauma center. Recognizing the significant role of the Pediatric Trauma Center in the lives of Brooklyn's growing families, Community for Kids raises funds and pays tribute to dedicated leaders and dynamic physicians who ensure life-saving care for the community's most precious resource, the children in our midst. Frank and Brian, I warmly congratulate you on tonight's milestone 5th annual benefit. And to all of you who are joining virtually, welcome to the community, and thank you for supporting our strong ongoing commitment to the children of Brooklyn.
Every day, around 6:30, when it's not raining, before the shift starts, They're here.
That's a briefing.
45 minutes, an hour before the day starts, they're here. Solving all the world's problems. And I get to say good morning. And they get to say good morning back. So this is what makes this place what it is.
It is now my privilege to introduce one of the honorees for the Leadership Award, a gentleman who came to us at Maimonides about a year and a half ago, just in time for the pandemic. And we are so blessed and so lucky to have him on board. During these last 10 months, he went above and beyond, really in the trenches. He was there for in every aspect of what we went through. And for those of you who either lived through it or are aware of what the hospital looked like in those days, you'll know that it was a war zone. And Michael, we are glad, we are honored, we are blessed to have you on board. Thank you for everything that you have done and for navigating those tough times and bringing that boat, that ship, to safe harbor, and we hope that it will continue to be so. Congratulations, Mike Antoniadis, on receiving the Community for Kids Leadership Award from Maimonides Medical Center.
What's up, fellas?
Hello, Mike.
What's going on?
Good. You stay safe?
I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in Greece, right? My parents were from Greece. My mother was here. We were going to move. My father lined up saying, no, I don't want to move. He had a good business. We stayed in Greece. I grew up there. I came here when I was just shy of 15. I lost my father to cancer. So it was a tough experience at a young age with a healthcare system that I knew very little about then. I never expected to work in healthcare. In fact, because of my early experience with my dad, I had said to myself early on, I will never ever work in a hospital, because that's the last time that I saw my dad. So as a young kid, then as I entered the industry and I realized that you can make a difference so that somebody like me at the tender age of 14 maybe can get a few more years with their dad or their grandpa or their mom. So it has been a mission for me for my life at this point. It's more than just a job. It means something to me, very personal. And I take that and I bring that with me every day. When I was going through the process of interviewing for the opportunity before I joined Maimonides, it was clear within minutes that that lives true into Maimonides. So to me, it was a perfect match, and I'm glad that I got the opportunity to join. COVID, 6 months in, what an experience on many fronts, right? Clearly, New York got hit really hard early on, and if you ever want to see a team going up against all odds and doing miracle work almost hourly, not just daily, this was the place to be. Our doors were open, remained open. We took care of every single patient that came through with the highest level of care and the clinical expertise that exists. And we went through a tough time, but as a team, we worked as one. One Maimonides stands for a reason. We worked as one, clinically, operationally. It didn't matter what had to be done. Whoever was available did it so that we can care for our patients and send as many as we possibly could home safe to their families. One, we have the only children's hospital in Brooklyn. Two, we have the only pediatric trauma center in Brooklyn. And this is a borough of 2.5 million plus people, okay? And I don't know, 600,000 or 700,000 kids. So let's stop there. We are the place that built the infrastructure, made the commitment, and we will always make the commitment to take care of the young population, to take care of our kids. He guides everything I do, and I just want to be like him.
I speak to you as a loving father. As I said, you know, children are the heart and they are the hope of a community. Nothing brings us closer together or melts away our differences like the hopeful eyes and trusting hands of children when they turn to us for help and comfort, you know. At Maimonides, people of all beliefs and backgrounds come together to help to heal. Every child is treated with love, and every family is treated with the utmost of compassion and respect.
So the Children's Hospital is Brooklyn's only children's hospital. And it's not just a children's hospital in name only, but in actual function. We have all the pediatric specialists and surgical specialists that are needed to give comprehensive care to children. We take care of children who are acutely ill and injured. We have the largest pediatric intensive care unit in Brooklyn. We also take care of premature babies, and we deliver more babies here than in any other hospital in New York State. And we are Brooklyn's only pediatric trauma center. So we have all the specialists that are needed to provide comprehensive care to children, but it goes beyond the medical specialties and the surgical specialties. We also have the support services, child life, social workers, case managers that help work with families in a very compassionate, empathetic way to provide not only the best medical care to the child, but the best overall care to children.
Isn't it great that we're here together today for the Community for Kids and for the Children's Trauma Center? I ask you all to come together for a moment. If you could remind yourselves that we are in God's presence, and let us pray. Lord our God, we your people come together with Maimonides Medical Center to celebrate this evening for Community for Kids. Help us, O Lord our God, to continue to work for children that go through trauma. Tonight as we gather here, we ask you to watch over, bless, and protect all our honorees. May they continue to do your holy work in this world. Bless all of us that gather here, and may we make this night a successful evening to help kids. We ask this for you, our Lord, today and forever. Amen.
We are very proud tonight to celebrate a longtime member of the Maimonides family, our outgoing General Counsel, Joyce Leahy, who is retiring after 33 years of serving Maimonides with the utmost dedication and distinction. A graduate of Harvard University and New York University School of Law, Joyce shaped our legal department and led the development of policies and programs during a time of profound change for healthcare law and for Maimonides. 5 different presidents and 7 board chairs have relied on her counsel, tenacity, knowledge, and zeal for protecting our institution and our patients. On a personal level, I'm grateful for the counsel she has provided to me, first as a trustee, then as chair of the board, and now as president and CEO, and equally grateful on behalf of Maimonides for her recruiting an incredible team, some in the last year, to staff the department going forward. Joyce, it is with heartfelt gratitude and good wishes that we present you with our Community Legacy Award.
How did I end up here? Well, I was an associate in a law firm working down on Wall Street in Manhattan, and one of the groups that I volunteered for had an ad advertising, a general counsel position in Brooklyn. I don't even think I'd been to Brooklyn at that point. So I came and interviewed, and they offered me the job on the spot, and hence started 33 years of being at Maimonides as general counsel. Well, when I came, I was all by myself, the only lawyer. So really what I had to do was establish a law department, a resource that people would know about. I think I've accomplished that people understand what a contract is, what legal advice is, that they can call us about any question that they have about a contract. As you probably know, Maimonides has a children's hospital of its own. As part of the Maimonides functions, I helped advise them on their logo. I've worked with the chairs of the departments of pediatrics over the years. Hardworking, trustworthy, available, focused on what's good for the medical center, very devoted to the mission. I mean, obviously, I could have made more money going to a law firm all these years, but I enjoyed what I'm doing here so much. Intellectually, very stimulating. So that's really why it's been important to me to stay here. I never had a desire to leave because every day somebody would come up with a question that I never heard of before.
Family is key to being part of family-centered care. The team consists of the parents at the center. A lot of the nurses are probably 30 years and more. And most NICU nurses, once they come into the field, they usually stay here. End of a good day is basically having a baby who's been here for a couple of months, go home, no respiratory support, feeding their feeds completely and looking perfectly normal. It's a great accomplishment. I mean, that's what we strive for. That's what you work here for. We are the hidden gem of Brooklyn as the NICU in Maimonides. We definitely need to expand more, and I think we have more work to do here.
Good evening. I'm Gene Kalin. I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of Maimonides. It's my honor tonight, but also my pleasure, to present this award to my fellow trustee, Alex Roth. Alex is a quintessential New Yorker. In the first place, like many of us, or our forebears, he is an immigrant to the city. He grew up in Carpathia, a particularly turbulent part of the world that served under a half a dozen different flags in the 20th century. He came to New York as a young man and famously worked in a deli and sold jewelry before he found his real business success. But we're not here to celebrate Alex's business success as much as we are to celebrate what he has done with it. Alex doesn't do anything by halves. His experience with healthcare has given him a deep knowledge of it, and our board and the Board of One Brooklyn is its beneficiary every day. And not just of his knowledge, of his wisdom, of his energy, of his creativity, and of his determination to make the institutions to which he is committed better. We are all in his debt. We are all grateful to him, and that is why he is tonight's Man of the Year. Congratulations, Alex.
I born in Transcarpathia, and after my colleges, me and my brother moved to Hungary. In 1990, already I was in the United States. We understand that this is the country of opportunities. This is the country where people can be free. So we moved here, and this is how I got to United States. Children are human beings who needs help, even they are healthy. Everybody has to support children. It's no question about it, because they cannot do this alone. Maimonides is one of the best hospitals in the United States, and if we're talking about cardiology, is the best one. Having this kind of team of doctors in Maimonides, it's privilege. Starting with a security guy to the president, vice presidents, chairmen of the departments are trying to do everything maximum to make it better and better. Frank Nacarrato is my friend. I know how important is work what Frank is doing and how much beneficial is this work to the hospital. If nobody will do this, the hospital will miss this. Several kids will not maybe get this, what they're entitled to get it. I will call that everybody should participate very aggressively to raise money for the children, what we desperately need.
There's definitely a family atmosphere. The department and my division, we focus a lot on family-centered care, including the families on our rounds, being open and transparent with families about what's going on with their children. And so I think that's important. And also there's a family atmosphere among the staff. You gave a ketamine?
Yeah.
The most important thing that really drives us is the patient care and being able to, we deal with children when they're at their most vulnerable and when they're at their sickest. And we like to be there for the kids and their families in that time of need, and that's what really drives us to do what we do. I think what's really special about Maimonides is we have expert care, the same level of expertise you would find in all the other major children's hospitals around the country, but we're in an environment that's smaller, that allows us to spend more time with patients, spend more time with their families, and give a lot more personalized care.
It's a pleasure to introduce Dr. Lynn Modell, who will be receiving tonight's Kindest Care Award from the Community for Kids organization. Lynn is really a special person. She is not only well-trained, having done her residency at Yale and her fellowship in pediatric surgery at Miami's Children's Hospital, but she embodies all that is necessary to provide the highest quality, compassionate care to children. I've seen her personally deal with families at times of immense stress after significant trauma has happened to their child. And she gives the information in such a warm, compassionate, empathetic, and kind way that it is truly comforting to not only the parents and the child, but in fact to the entire staff who works with her. Congratulations, Lynn.
Well, I'm a New Yorker, born and bred from Westchester, and I went to college in Connecticut and kind of been around here for a long time. After I was done with many years of training, starting at Yale for residency, after my pediatric surgery training in Miami, I was looking to come home, and Brooklyn was the place to be. I also was looking for a place where I like the people I work with and I feel like I could make an impact. And Maimonides is that perfect situation. It's a small enough place, but a big enough place where we have all these subspecialties that we need to take care of children the best way possible. But at the same time, I know everybody on a first name basis, and if I need something from someone, I just call them up and we have a great conversation about how best to help that kid. Actually becoming a mom was helpful in my doctor life. My kids at home are almost 3 and 5, and they understand that mommy's a doctor and sometimes not home because mommy's a doctor, but that we help people here every day, and I think they get that it's special. But at the same time, the empathy you have for parents is just unmatched when you're a parent. So it allows you, when you say, I have children, I understand that this is your baby and I want to take the best care of this child like it's my child, that they connect with you more and you really understand their perspective. I have always been interested in really fine motor skill things, so it was kind of a natural flow into surgery. And the thing with kids is that when you help a child, the way that makes you feel is something so special that even on the bad days, you remember the good days and how much you can change someone's life, and then they can live 90 more years, that it's like nothing else in the world to be able to help children.
John Marshall, the Department of Emergency Medicine. I define a hero as a person who puts their own needs, their own interests, their own safety aside in the service of others. A hero is someone who sees tragedy, they see trauma, they see suffering, and instead of turning away, they turn towards that. Everyone who was here during this event, I really think of as a hero, and frankly, I thought of them as heroes before. Good evening. I'm John Marshall. I'm the Chair of Emergency Medicine at Maimonides Medical Center. And I want to start by thanking the organizers of the Community for Kids event. It's a wonderful event and a great partnership in providing resources for our children and our children's health care needs. Thank you again. I'm standing here in front of what it will be the new Pediatric Emergency Department at Maimonides Medical Center. Maimonides is embarking on building what will be the first freestanding pediatric emergency room in all of Brooklyn. Brooklyn's 615,000 children will have access in this site to state-of-the-art, cutting-edge pediatric emergency care in a space that's totally dedicated for children and totally intended to be a safe, healing place for our kids. And this building will be a concrete embodiment of Maimonides' dedication to our children, our communities, and the future of Brooklyn. Thank you again.
I'd like to make a very special presentation to someone who deserves it. And not only he deserves it, but the organization that he's affiliated with deserves it. Most of you might not know, but during the pandemic, this gentleman and his crew brought in so much happiness to our frontline workers in the form of food. They were able to serve in excess of 7,000 meals in the period of 4 months. That brought a lot of joy, not only to the stomach of the frontline workers, but also to the heart, knowing that someone out there was thinking of them and what they were going through during that turmoil. Patrick, on behalf of the Community for Kids and the Pediatric Trauma Center, would like to present you and thank you for your act of kindness.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you, Frank, on behalf of Soho House for this award. It's an absolute honor to receive this. My team and I in New York are incredibly fortunate that we work for an organization who takes an immense pride and joy in positively impacting the life of others. And through a stroke of some very fortunate circumstances, we were connected with Frank and were able to make someone's day a little brighter, someone's work day a little easier. And like I said, we take immense pride and joy in that, and want to thank you again. Thank you so much, and if there's anything we can do to support your organization in the future, please do let us know. We're always here for you.
Thanks again for helping the kids out. We're going to do a little something from my house with my kids. I have Olivia, my 15-year-old. Look, hi, Olivia's the director. And then I want to showcase some of the music that I was brought up with in the 1960s in Bloomfield, New Jersey. You know, like the blues, you know, the true core of rock and roll. And my son, Michael Piscopo, right there, is an absolute genius at this on guitar. So we'll do a little family thing for you. You got this, man? You go, 1, 2, 3, 4.
It is my privilege and honor to recognize the Long and DeLosa Construction Group. Long and DeLosa have worked for Maimonides for over 30 years. Their entire construction team has been a great asset for Maimonides. They have done a lot of our clinical departments, our MRIs, our cath labs, and a lot of our patient rooms. The Community Builders Award that they are being honored with tonight is a well-deserved award.
All right, John, can you hear me now?
What, Brian?
Can you hear me now? All right. Let's make sure we got enough distance here.
I got the smart end.
Okay, 6 foot 1 inch. We're good to go.
We're good to go.
We're safe. All right, we can take our masks off now. Right now, we're in the shop of Long and DeLosa Construction.
800 Fifth Avenue, Brooklyn.
We started in 1984 doing apartment renovations in condos and co-op conversions in Bay Ridge. And in 1986, we got called in to look at a job in Maimonides. And we went in there to do that, and we've been there since.
Do for work today? We've done all kinds of different projects, from small renovations of offices to repair jobs, all the way up to the hybrid ORs, MRIs. It's great. It really is. It's a great sense of when you see the people it saves by the work that we've done. We built a room, they call it the Miracle Room, where they actually send catheters into people's brains to fix them in a stroke while they're still awake. It's just amazing the work that we've accomplished there.
Well, every time one of these units open up and you're at the ribbon cutting ceremony, I remember when the breast center, the Gilbert Rivera Center opened up. I stood there with Dr. Borgen and Dr. Cooper, and you know, we were like proud parents. That's when you know you did something good.
See, Maimonides is not just a client for us, it's also our hospital. We live there. My children have been taken care of there. My wife just was taken care of there. We are part of the family there.
Kind of Community for Kids kind of grew out of a meeting at our Kiwanis Club. And, you know, we got into a discussion that they were going to do this, and, you know, we all started brainstorming on how we could, you know, help them out. And, you know, we got the first one off the ground, and, you know, this is the 5th year it's going off. And I showed up late for a meeting, and this is how we wound up here. So, actually, this year's 26 years ago, we started that Celebration of Light. There's, I think, 42 parishes now, you know, and the hospital is involved with it.
I'm sorry, I can't talk like those two guys. I have to finish some work for Maimonides right now. We're doing a lot of projects with Maimonides, especially the post-COVID. We are very, very busy putting everything back to normal. It took a lot of effort to go to COVID, and now it takes just as much effort to bring it back to normal.
The message is 902 children are here today that very well would not have been here if that room wasn't done. So, you know what? We all did something good, and tonight we're doing something great because we're supporting something that everybody in the Brooklyn community benefits from. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. 902 is a big number.
Breaking in Brooklyn now, Chopper 2 over the scene in Borough Park, where a young boy was struck by a car. Police say around 2 this afternoon. The 4-year-old ran into the street on 13th Avenue and was hit by a minivan. The child was rushed to Maimonides Hospital and remains in serious condition.
The hardest part was watching him get hit. That was, I mean, no mother should watch their child get hit by a car. It's very, very, very scary. And I just couldn't calm down. I was in shock. I was crying. I was like, he's not gonna be okay. Because when you actually watch the accident, nobody can tell you your kid's gonna be okay. Like, you saw it. Like, how is he gonna be okay? I just watched him fly and hit the ground and lay there unconscious in the middle of the street. So to me, it was like he's not gonna be okay. Finally, the neurosurgeon grabbed onto me. She was a woman, an amazing, we owe her so much. I mean, I think she saved his life. And she grabbed onto me and she said, "You need to calm down. He's going to be 100% okay.
That reassurance from the trauma surgeon, the head trauma surgeon, the trauma team as a whole, the nurses, the doctors, the level of care and the compassion and the way that everyone just gave themselves up to help our child is something that we'll forever be grateful for.
I just remember at one point they allowed us to take him out of the room, and there was this huge fish tank. I can't even tell you how beautiful. I just remember this moment of putting him into the wheelchair because he couldn't walk yet, and wheeling him out of the room and taking him to this fish tank. It was huge, like floor to ceiling, and his face, the way it lit up, to be able to see the fish and pointing at the fish. That was like the first time also that we saw his personality back, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be okay. We owe them so much for giving us back our little boy, for giving us the best care possible, for making this crazy, it was a nightmare. And they gave us back our little boy, really. They really, really did. And we were in the best hands. We felt we were in the best hands. There was no other place we wanted to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Community for Kids, my co-chair, and everyone here at the hospital, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. I hope that you continue to support us. Just remember that what you're doing, we're doing for the kids.
Enjoy the holiday season with your loved ones. Please be very proud of the fact that your love and your support for the Pediatric Trauma Center is literally a gift of life, one that we hope brings healing and joy to all the young patients of Maimonides and their families. God bless, keep safe, keep well, and happy holidays.